Before I point out the interesting week, we'll call it interesting, the interesting week that TNA had, do want to get a couple of other things out of the way. First of all, if you want to follow me on Twitter, the link is down below in the description box. Go ahead, follow me. I live tweet a lot of wrestling shows and just ramble on about amazing bullshit. All the time. It's fun. It's tons of fun. A couple other things I want to talk about. I do want to put over this week's episode of NXT and this week's episode of Lucha Underground. NXT closed. Whoa, hit my camera. Okay. Last week's NXT closed with a teaser for Finn Balor versus Shinsuke Nakamura. That match is going to be amazing, so just name a place and I'm there. So it's one of those, it's like, okay, just say when it's going to happen and I'll be there to watch it. No questions asked. So that's something to definitely look forward to, and I'm very excited about that. Lucha Underground shined with a match that lasted the entire episode, the 6 to Survive match, which was unbelievably good. 6 luchadors competing for the #1 contender spot at Ultima Lucha Dos. Amazing match from start to finish. Loved it. It was elimination style, so that made it even better because it was it made it more of an evolving story throughout the night as more guys got eliminated. And it was handled really, really well. Lucha Underground typically does, whenever they do those kind of all night long type of matches, like the Puma Mundo Iron Man match or their Aztec Warfare matches, they typically do it in a way that's really, really good. And this was a case where they did it really, really well, once again. And I thought the match was very good. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out because it's great. So there's that. I also want to point out to you all that I will not be watching Money in the Bank this Sunday because I will be over at the folks' place celebrating Father's Day. Dad, I can do that for my dad, right? So I will not be watching Money in the Bank live the night of the show, so that means no live tweeting and no, even though I don't commonly do this anyway, no review right after the show's done, but like I said, I normally don't do that anyway. So I will watch Money in the Bank, and I will have a review for it. My plan is to get it up Monday night because okay, so the way it works out, I'm actually working on Sunday, Father's Day, but which is also why I'm going to be staying late at the folks' house because I got to go to work, then go celebrate Father's Day with the parents, and which is why I'm going to be missing Money in the Bank, and then I have to work on Monday. But because I'm not allowed to work overtime, I have to take a day off next week. So my plan is to work Sunday and Monday, then take Tuesday off, and my video review of Money in the Bank and what happened the next night on Monday Night Raw should be coming either immediately after Raw, because I don't have to get up super early in the morning, so I can stay up and do the video, or it'll come sometime Tuesday morning. So that's the plan, and if my work schedule sounds really weird, that's because it is, and it's beyond bizarre, and yeah. And that's all I got to say to that. But, so, the plan right now, will not be watching Money in the Bank live as the show is in progress, but I will watch it sometime on Monday after I get off work. I will watch Raw, and then my Money in the Bank review will be coming sometime after that, either late Monday night or early on Tuesday. So be on the lookout for that. So now, with all of that said, let's jump right into TNA. And it's been a while. I can't remember the last time I did a TNA-centric video. But this week definitely called for it. You know, I planned on doing this video. I didn't see Slammiversary on Sunday. I watched it right before Monday Night Raw aired. And I had some opinions about Slammiversary. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to tune into Impact tomorrow night because I know they're doing a live show. Or live. We'll say live. They're doing a live for TNA show. And I was like, you know what? I'll do a video. I'll watch Impact the next night, and I will do a video that's strictly talking about TNA. And the reason I decided to do this, I thought the live episode of Impact, they were going to bring, like, not necessarily do anything special, but I thought it's like, all right, that's going to be a little bit different, a little bit bigger for them than what we normally get out of them these days. And I was like, okay. And to be perfectly honest, it was going to be a positive video because I actually enjoyed Slammiversary to some degree. It's not as good as what TNA was doing in their heyday. I mean, I remember 10 years ago, Slammiversary 2006 was like one of my favorite pay-per-views that year. That show was amazing with all the stories they built up and the execution of all the matches and the payoffs and everything. That show was great. This one wasn't as good as that, but with the low expectations that come with TNA, for them to deliver a show that was as good as it was, I was legitimately a little surprised. And I was like, okay, it's not everything is perfect on the show, but it was an overall solid event, and in a day and age where we don't expect solid events out of TNA. So I was ready to do a video review of Slammiversary and the Tuesday Night Impact, and for it to be a TNA-centered video that was actually positive, because I don't like to be negative just for the sake of being negative. I know I'm negative a lot, but that's only because the wrestling companies I review give me plenty of material to work with. But if you give me something good, I want to talk about it, and I want to experience good things, because I'm a fan of the art form. I love pro wrestling. I've been watching it for just about my entire life. I know what I like and I know what I don't like, and I want to talk about the stuff I like. Sometimes that's not easy to find, but when I watch things like some of the New Japan shows and Lucha Underground and NXT TakeOver specials, and whenever WWE does something good, I want to highlight it. Whenever Ring of Honor does something good, I want to highlight it. Whenever TNA does something really good, I want to highlight it. I don't like to be negative just for the sake of being negative. I do like to talk about good things. In Slammiversary, to be perfectly honest, I thought the 4-way X Division match was it was spot festy, but it was fun. I enjoyed it. It was action packed and was nice, a nice hot opener. I thought Matt and Jeff Hardy had a pretty good street fight Full Metal Mayhem match. I thought that match was pretty good. I thought Drew Galloway and Bobby Lashley had a hell of a match in the main event. I liked the submission, or you can only win by submission or knockout, and I like those stipulations because they worked the match around it and made it kind of this hard-hitting slugfest of a match, and it actually worked quite well, and I was like, okay, I actually enjoyed that. I thought Ethan Carter and Mike Bennett had a really good match. No surprise, Ethan Carter is a superstar. I mean, that guy, every time I look at that guy, I just think, what did WWE not see in him? I look at him on TNA, where you don't expect great quality from TNA these days, and I look at him and I go, what did WWE not see in this guy? How did you miss the boat with Derek Bateman this badly? I mean, every time he goes out there, he shows that WWE made a mistake by not pushing him, because he's really, really good. And he's shown that he can work as a babyface, which I had my doubts, because I love DC3 as a heel, and I was like, I don't know if he can work as a babyface, though. And they've managed to turn him in a way that doesn't compromise the character itself. He's actually been able to stay EC3 and not just some happy-go-lucky idiot babyface, which I like. And I thought, like I said, I thought the match he had with Mike Bennett was really good. The rest of the card, it was disappointing that Maria broke her hand and we couldn't get that match. I mean, not that Gail Kim versus Maria was going to be a, quote, 5-star classic or anything, but it was going to be a Bobby Heenan match. I remember Maria had a match with ODB in Ring of Honor that I really enjoyed. It got a lot of bad reviews from the purists and the smart marks and everything, but I was like, come on, guys, I got a kick out of that. I thought that match was fun. It was entertaining. And Maria has shown that she can be a great character, and it's fun to watch her get her comeuppance. So I was like, Maria's actually turned into a really good performer in the role that she plays. And I thought that they could have done, again, what I like to call a Bobby Heenan match. I felt like they could have done something like that here with Gail. Didn't happen because Maria got hurt, which is unfortunate, so they just kind of stuck Gail in the 3-way women's match, which was okay. I'm trying to remember the other matches on the show. They did the Decay versus the Bromance for the tag titles. That was whatever. It was there. They did Al Snow's team, the Tribunal versus Grado and Mahabali Shira. I'm not really a fan of the feud, to be perfectly honest. For those of you who don't know who the Tribunal are, it's Sylvester Lafort and Marcus Louis from NXT. They were the Legionnaires, I believe. Of course, for a brief period, Marcus Louis was also like a monster that was stalking Tyler Breeze. They never really went anywhere with that. But, that match was whatever. It was, there was nothing on this show that was truly terrible. There was, the stuff that was kind of was just that. It was, whatever. It was filler. But everything else, I mean, those 4 matches in particular, the X Division match, EC3 and Mike Bennett, and the Hardy match and the main event, I thought were all pretty solid. And overall, I enjoyed myself. It was an entertaining show, and I planned on doing an entire video talking about TNA, focusing on the positives, hoping that the follow-up on Impact would be really good. What I did not expect was to tune into Pop TV on Tuesday night and to be treated with an endless loop of Pop TV advertisements advertising the shows on their network. It was the same 4 advertisements in a row. And let's see if I can remember that. There were 2 That 70s Show ads, which I'll cover that in a second. There was a TNA ad, and there was a game show ad with Craig Ferguson. I forget the name of the game show. I'm surprised. I am shocked that I don't know all these ads like by heart now, because holy fuck, we watched them over and over and over and over and over and over again. And after about the first 5 minutes, I was like, what the hell is going on here? And it turns out that Pop TV, not TNA, this wasn't TNA's fault apparently. Pop TV was having technical difficulties. I'm like, man, if TNA's not shooting themselves in the foot, somebody else is more than happy to do it for them. It's like, it makes you wonder, it's like, is the universe just working against them or what? I don't know, but I was like, man, live show coming off of a pay-per-view, and this happens. It's like, wow, that couldn't have gone any worse. I mean, that could not have gone. And again, it wasn't TNA's fault. And TNA also suffered from bad news earlier that day. It leaked that apparently Billy Corgan had to fund Slammiversary because they had run out of funds apparently and couldn't pay the production crews or anything. So there was some big turmoil going on, and Slammiversary 2016 almost didn't happen. That had leaked earlier in the day. So, you know, coming off the heels of what I thought was a pretty solid show, TNA got hit with bad news earlier that morning where that whole thing leaked, and then the Pop TV fiasco. And it really, although this was more entertaining, and I'll explain why, it reminded me of In Your House, Beware of Dog, where, you know, I remember ordering that pay-per-view and just sitting there in front of the TV looking at a screen. WWE, In Your House, we'll be right back. And that was the entire show, basically. We got the first match, then the screen went blue with that message, and then we got the main event, which was clearly shortened and truncated and whatever. But this was very similar to that, but instead of getting a blue screen where they tell us we'll be right back, we got this endless loop of Pop TV ads, like I said, and obviously the one that really stood out was the That 70s Show ad, which, and there were 2 of them, but there was one in particular that just was so distinctive, and to have it played over and over and over and over again, it was like, are they trying to brainwash us or something through repetition? It's like, I don't know, I could almost feel brain cells being sucked out of my brain, and like I was losing my own ability of free will. Like, it was just crazy. And God, that entire ad just you know, Eric Foreman bitching. Again, I must have watched the clip like a billion times. You know, Donna saying that she has the largest hands in the world. What was it? Discos, drive-ins, and doobies. Just everything about that ad was so like over the top, weird, and distinctive that was the one that obviously stood out. So I don't know. I got the urge to go watch That 70s Show, but watching those ads over and over and over again, it was getting monotonous and frustrating, but at the same time, I got this sick enjoyment out of it because it was kind of funny, and it was like I couldn't decide if I hated it or if I loved it because of all like. And if you don't believe me, just look at my Twitter while this was going on, because I also planned on live tweeting this episode of Impact, and then I had nothing to talk about but That 70s Show ads, because what the fuck else was I going to talk about? And it was just crazy. The whole thing was crazy. And the other That 70s Show ad, you know, begins with Donna saying, "I'm not wearing a bra. You were the best girlfriend ever." And it was just really, really weird. It was bizarre. It was a weird experience. And it was also cruel because every once in a while the TNA Impact feed would kick back on, and then there was clearly still some technical difficulties, and then the feed would drop again, and you'd go right back into the cycle of ads. Or even more cruel, the cycle of ads would break, and you would get new ads. Like, you would get, like, a Domino's pizza ad or something like that, and you think, oh, maybe they fixed it, and we're just at commercial break. This is, like, the actual commercial break. And, like, no, sooner or later, we'd just come right back to that Pop TV cycle, and it was just... It was both hysterical and frustrating all at the same time. It was one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had watching a wrestling show. And to be honest, I did feel bad for TNA. I would have felt bad for any company that this happened to, even though I was getting my jollies, kind of making fun of it. At the same time, I understood it's like, look, Pop TV clearly fucked something up, and it's not really TNA's fault, but it happened, and you just gotta kind of laugh at it and have a ball with it. So it's a shame that TNA put on, a good show with Slammiversary and then followed it up with this fiasco that took place. And it's really a shame that it happened. It couldn't have come at a worse time. And I eventually did watch the show. I didn't. So for the first hour and 50 minutes, this was going on, where it was just nothing but these ads, and every once in a while the feed would kick back on, but then kick that off. But they didn't get it. They didn't get the feed up until I believe it was 10:50. So about an hour and 50 minutes, we were treated to that Pop TV cycle of ads. And at that point, I was like, well, I'm not staying up till 1 in the morning just to watch TNA, so I'll record it and then watch it later. And that's what I did. So I eventually did watch it. Honestly, the show wasn't bad. It wasn't a great show, but it was the Gold Rush show, which, oddly enough, Gold Rush was the name I gave a WWF pay-per-view. The old video game, WWF Attitude on N64, where you could create your own pay-per-views and... your own. Actually, am I thinking of the right one? I might be. I don't remember. It was either Attitude or it was one of the SmackDown games. I don't remember. Maybe it was both. I don't know. But all I know is that I created a WWF pay-per-view that was called Gold Rush, and every title was defended. And every match was a title match. So basically, it was a precursor to Night of Champions. It's like, I came up with that name Gold Rush back when I was in high school. I'm a genius like that. But anyway. It was, the show itself wasn't bad, and there were a couple of really good things on there. I thought, again, Maria and Mike Bennett shined in their segment. I thought they did really well. I don't know where that angle's going. Is it going to be another power struggle angle? I don't know if TNA needs to do another one of those. But, the Gail Kim Hall of Fame segment I thought came off really well, actually, and Gail Kim looked legitimately touched and emotional through it, so that was nice. EC3 is going to be pursuing Lashley, but might have to feud with Galloway to get to that point. So there was good stuff that happened on the show, and like I said, it wasn't a bad show. It's just a shame that it's going to be known for it's kind of like Halloween Havoc 98, where the pay-per-view feed cut out, and everybody makes fun of the event because of that. That and the horrible Hogan Warrior match. But it's so sad because the main event of that show, DDP and Goldberg, was actually pretty fucking awesome. It was a great match. I would argue probably Goldberg's best. It's either that one or the Fall Brawl 2000 match with Steiner. Those are my two favorite Goldberg matches. But, it's a shame when something really good happens, but it's marred by something really awful and terrible with the show getting fucked up. And it's always disappointing whenever that happens. But in a weird way, I did enjoy myself last night. I had it's like, all right, if I'm not going to get to watch wrestling, I'm at least going to have a party with this. So I had a ball, and of course now I feel the need to go look up and see if that 70 show is on Netflix. I don't know. I haven't watched that 70 show in years, but in any case, so that was TNA's unfortunate week. Very bizarre to say the least. I guess I could also do a preview of Money in the Bank 2016, so let's jump right into that. Now, Money in the Bank 2016 is a show that WWE's been promoting as potentially the greatest Money in the Bank of all time. There's certainly some big matches on there. I doubt they'll deliver anything that was quite as interesting as what happened at 2011. There's nothing like that on this show where it's like, I have to tune in to see what happens. Oh my God. And then the actual payoff was amazing. So I don't get the sense that anything like that is going to happen, but the big matches could certainly deliver, and you could get some interesting setups and interesting things coming out of it. I mean, fingers crossed. Let's hope so. Yeah, Money in the Bank. Actually, those of you who have been watching me for a long time, for years now, you may remember that I first started making videos around the time of Money in the Bank 2010. So I've been doing this shit for 6 fucking years. Fuck, how are you all not sick of me yet? Maybe you are. I don't know. But anyway, so Money in the Bank 2016. Got 2 pre-show matches. Dolph Ziggler versus Baron Corbin again. Where I'm sure, you know, they'll say a low blow is cheating even if the match was no DQ. They'll keep saying that. Like, they keep saying that Baron Corbin, like, cheated to beat Dolph Ziggler, and I'm like, it was a no DQ match. There is no cheating in a no DQ match. He didn't cheat. I'm sorry. It's just, stop whining, Dolph. But anyway, yeah, we're getting that match again. I guess we're going to get that at every pre-show from now until eternity. Who knows? We're also getting Sheamus versus Apollo Crews, or, I mean, in a weird way, it kind of looks like Bebop versus Rocksteady, but okay. Oh, and speaking of that, I did see Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows. Basically, if you're a fan of the original cartoon, you will probably get a kick out of this. I'm not saying it's a great movie. I'm not even saying it's a good movie. I'm just saying there's some nostalgia pops in there. And it is mostly fun. And it is certainly better than the last Ninja Turtles movie. So I can take improvement. It's like, okay, it wasn't a complete fucking disaster. And I'm fine with that. But anyway, so you got those 2 matches. I don't really care who wins either way. I guess give Apollo Crews the win. Just because I'm sick of Sheamus. Go into movies, Sheamus. He was a fun Rocksteady. Just go into movies. Follow Batista. I don't care. And Ziggler will probably beat Corbin, I guess. I don't know. I don't really care. Then you get to the main card. You got Titus O'Neil challenging Rusev for the U.S. title. I guess Rusev is going to win. I mean, thank God they didn't just beat Rusev to Cena. We were all worried about that. Thank God that didn't happen. Doesn't seem like there's much for Rusev right now. It looks like he's just a lesser version of what he was when he was the U.S. champion originally. And of course, that's the side effect of horrible booking for such a long period of time, is that he just feels like he's just kind of there. And even when you try to make him look good, you still have to overcome all of that horribleness that he was attached to for over a year. So hopefully they can get over that hill and get him back to being something a little bit more respectable. So I would hope that Rusev would go over here, and hopefully they can make something out of him moving forward. You've got a Divas tag, well, Divas, I keep calling them Divas, the women's tag match, Charlotte and Dana Brooke versus Becky Lynch and Natalya. This definitely feels like a Raw match, because you see tag matches on Raw all the time. I mean, the girls involved, with the exception of Dana, who's still a little unpolished, the girls involved are very talented, and I'm sure they'll make something watchable out of this. I'm sure it'll be fine. It's just that it feels like a Raw match, because we see tag matches all the time on Raw. In the old days, like, this match probably would have been a bigger deal. And my dryer just went off. So if you heard that buzz, that's what that was. But in the old days, tag matches on pay-per-view were actually kind of cool, because when they were like single stars thrown together, because you get all these personalities that you don't normally see work with each other or work against each other, and they're all kind of mixed together. Now you see it all the time on Raw, and it doesn't even matter, so who cares? There's also a 4-way tag title match, the New Day defending against the Club, the Vaudevillains, and Enzo and Cass. I like that they're loading up the tag division. I like all of these teams for one reason or another. I would have preferred it if it was 2 separate matches, because I think Vaudevillains and Enzo and Cass had potential to be a good non-title feud, especially with the whole situation of Enzo getting hurt while working with the Vaudevillains, and they tried to hurt him again on Raw when Enzo came back. And I felt like that could have been a really good kind of non-title feud to build up to the pay-per-view. They didn't do that. They just crammed everybody into another 4-way title match, because that's all anybody knows how to do it these days. But this match should be fun. I like all the teams involved. There's going to be a lot of different colorful characters and moving parts, so I expect this match to be fun. I would keep the titles on the New Day at this point. Like I've said before, I don't like it when titles change hands in multi-man type situations. I prefer title changes to be reserved for kind of one-on-one, or in the cases of tag teams, two-on-two. So it just feels like the person that won the belt or belts in this case, got built up to that point. They moved up the rankings and had to claw and scratch to get that title shot. In a four-way, it's a lot easier to qualify to get into a four-way, and you don't even have to beat the champion to win the belt. So it feels like, I don't want to say taints it, but it kind of lessens the impact of the victory. That's not always the case. That's not a blanket statement. It's just generally I prefer to have it closed with just the champions and the challengers, and like one team being the challengers, and that's typically what I prefer. But I expect this match to be fun. I just hope there's no title change. I don't see the point in taking the titles off the New Day in this situation. I would, if they want to put the belts on the club, which I think they do, I would hold it off until it's New Day and the club, 2-on-2. And finally, we have the three big matches that the WWE is really hyping for this show. The Money in the Bank ladder match, for which the pay-per-view is named. You have Dean Ambrose, Chris Jericho, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and Alberto Del Rio. In the Money in the Bank ladder match, winner obviously gets a guaranteed title shot to cash in anytime, any place within the next year. It's a Money in the Bank ladder match. Like I said, multi-man ladder matches don't really interest me anymore because I'm just desensitized to the whole thing. But the benefit of Money in the Bank is that the outcome and the prize actually matters. So really the most interesting part about a Money in the Bank ladder match is who wins the fucking prize. And that's ultimately what I care about. And it's always interesting to see who walks out of there with the briefcase. So who could they give it to? Personally, Jericho better not. Please don't. Alberto Del Rio better not. He's boring as shit right now. I don't know what the difference is between Alberto Del Rio and Alberto El Patron outside the WWE, but fucking hell, it's like two different people. I don't know what it is about the WWE that just sucks the life out of Del Rio, but it's just, I don't know. But if we're up to me, like I said, I'd be looking at Kevin Owens, Dean Ambrose, and if you want to give it to Cesaro or Sami Zayn, that's fine. You just got to build them up post-ladder match and really put them on the path to really grow and develop as characters, and then pull the trigger on the title change and make it meaningful. Keep it among those guys. I think those are the ones that you want to focus on. I will not accept Jericho and I will not accept Alberto Del Rio at this point. But the other four guys, I could be perfectly happy with. So it's like, all right, 2/3 chance I'll be happy with the winner. I'm like, all right. As far as the prediction goes, I'm actually going to say Dean Ambrose, and they're going to use the Money in the Bank ladder. They're going to use the Money in the Bank briefcase to set up whether he announces the title shot for this or he cashes it in early and it ultimately leads to this being set up. I think they're going to do a Shield triple threat at SummerSlam. They did a lot to set it up on Raw this week, and I feel like it's the match they wanted to do at WrestleMania and couldn't, and I'm getting text messages. I don't know what that is. Oh, well. Anyway, so yeah, I think they're going to want to do a Shield triple threat, and I think they're going to use the Money in the Bank to get Dean Ambrose into that Roman Reigns, Seth Rollins mix. How they do that, I don't know. That'll be up to them, but I think a Shield triple threat is imminent, and I think the Money in the Bank ladder match will be used to set that up. So I'm looking for Dean Ambrose to ultimately win the ladder match. Then we have AJ Styles versus John Cena, the Dream match. Can AJ just go over, please? And if he does go over, can he not just get fed to Cena in 86 rematches? Pretty please. Pretty please. I'm not asking for much here. I'm really not asking for much. But it's Cena's first match back, I think. I don't think he's wrestled on TV since he's been back. I don't think they're going to have Cena lose his first match back. And I'm looking for John Cena to win the match here. And if it happens, I'm going to get sick. Because it's like, AJ is hardly won on pay-per-view. It's like, come on. Just let him go over. Give us something to get excited about. Because that's part of the problem with John Cena and kind of what his career is indicative of. this is carried out throughout his entire career. It's impossible to get excited about anybody because you know that they're just going to get fed to Cena. It happened to Rusev. It happened to Christian. In a weird way, it happened to Christian where they were building up a Christian John Cena match in 2005, and we were all like super hyped for it. And then the match never happened. They just did a three-way match with Jericho thrown in, and Christian was just in that match to eat the pin. So it was like, well, what was the point of all that build-up? You were just going to do that with him. But yeah, I mean, I know they eventually did Jericho and Cena at SummerSlam, the one-on-one. I felt like that should have been flipped. I felt like that should have been Christian in that spot. But anyway, it's let me turn my phone off. This is getting annoying. Yep, there you go. But yeah, I could sit here all day and list examples. Even if like baby faces get over, that like AJ Lee or Zack Ryder, right? It's like they have to interact with Cena, and Cena has to leech off of them. The only ones that managed to escape it at least a little bit were Daniel Bryan, who never had to suffer a defeat at John Cena's hands after he beat Cena at 2013 SummerSlam. CM Punk, who, yeah, he did lose to Cena at points, but Punk won all the big ones, which was cool by me. And the Shield. The Shield never got fed to John Cena, which was nice. So, but other than that, like Ryback was one, although Ryback had already been ruined at that point, but just a ton of guys. Kevin Owens last year. I mean, look what they did to him. It's like he comes in, beats Cena, and then Cena has to win all the rematches because fuck you. That's why. And it's just a ton of situations like that. Dolph Ziggler, another one, that are just infuriating. It's just infuriating. And you get sick of it. It's boring. I don't care anymore. And will this match be good? I'm sure it will be exciting to watch. I'm sure the crowd will be fully invested in it. I just hope they don't go with the overly obvious, groaner of an ending with John Cena winning yet again. It would be an eye roller to end all eye rollers if AJ Styles, just got fed to John Cena. It would make me sick. It would be one of those. So it's like, please, pretty please, can AJ Styles please go over? Pretty please. Pretty please. But I might be asking too much there. But in any case, then we have the main event. Seth Rollins versus Roman Reigns. Another match that I'm pretty sure they probably wanted to do at WrestleMania. I'm convinced the WrestleMania main event this year was supposed to be either this or the Shield triple threat. We'll never know for sure. But I get the feeling like this is what they wanted to go with. And I'm sure Seth can get a good match out of Roman Reigns, and I'm not even saying Roman Reigns is that bad of a worker. It's just that it's hard when you're a babyface and most of the audience they either hate you or they're indifferent to you. That's hard to overcome, and that typically hurts matches. The AJ matches worked because we all wanted AJ to win, and he was the de facto babyface no matter what they did. And that's probably going to happen here. Even though they want Seth to be the heel, he's going to be the de facto babyface no matter what. So I think the match is going to work if you look at it from that perspective. And hopefully it's a really good main event. I'm not counting on Seth winning, although I'd mark if he did. Because that's the other thing about them saying that this is going to be one of the greatest Money in the Banks of all time. If they just go with Cena and Reigns winning, that'll be kind of deflating. It's like, look, can at least one of those matches go our way? Just to, give us something exciting to think about or to hope for moving forward. It would be nice. It would be nice. But, yeah, those are all my thoughts on the card for Money in the Bank. Obviously, I won't be able to watch the show Sunday night, but like I said, I will get a review out to you early next week. So be on the lookout for that. But until then, I think I've rambled on long enough. That's the end of this video. Again, follow me on Twitter. The link is in the description box down below. And I will be back in the near future with more videos and more fun on this channel. So until then, later, everybody.